This Void Hunter build makes you a tethering god. With this build updated for Season of the Witch, you'll be able to generate tons of orbs of power per activity, while also getting your super back extremely fast. You're going to have infinite invisibility, infinite volatile rounds, infinite devour, and overall you're just going to become this unkillable god that gets you your super pretty frequently to use whenever you want. Now although you can't get your super in seconds like the previous version of this build I did a few seasons back, you will instead get a bunch of other benefits for this season, using some of the new artifact perks that we got introduced with this season. So we're going to be able to generate special and heavy ammo consistently, as well as having a damage buff to our weapons and abilities. There are also other benefits to the build too, which we will get to later in the video, but this is one build I really like to use in endgame content because we can get that super back pretty fast, and it's just a great alternative build to use if you want to get away from using the Gyrfalcons and any other exotics that work well with the Void subclass. And the best part about this build is that it will work the same way in any season, but having artifact perks that affect Void like we have now will make this build extremely powerful. Now do you want your characters to feel more powerful and look more beautiful? Then check out my new partner Apex Gaming PCs. I've got my own custom line of powerful PCs available that will guarantee you play flawlessly with maximum quality and performance. Whether you want a light build, a darkness build, or you want to go all out god mode, then Apex has got your back using some of the best and latest components available regardless of your budget. And on top of this, they also have finance options available so you don't have to pay all at once. You can also use my code DIVIDE for up to $250 off your next purchase. See my link and discount code below. You're welcome. Now Void Hunters have had some of the best builds in the entire game, but there's also a bunch of other builds that are just as good, which is why if you like this build and you want to see more top builds for Destiny 2 Lightfall Season of the Witch, then be sure to check out my new Season 22 build playlist down below, where you can find all of my latest builds, because you might just find your new best build. But today, we're rocking the Void subclass on the Hunter as a fast supers build, and there's two supers that you can use for this build, which are going to be the Moebius Quiver and the Deadfall. Now for this build, we're going to specialise in the Shadow Shot Deadfall, mostly because it lasts a really long time, and it's great not just for bosses for that 30% damage debuff, but also to use on adds, tough adds and champions, because tethering a lot of adds close together will pretty much give you over half of that super energy straight back, and then you can just top the rest of that energy off using other things like your grenade, which you're going to get tons of anyway due to having devour. But the tether itself will last 12 seconds initially, and then killing adds that are tethered will extend that duration up to 25 seconds. And if you have a lot of adds around, that tether might even still be there by the time you get your next one. So it really is a good build to use, especially in endgame content where you're capped under the power level, because it just does a fantastic job at clearing out groups of tough adds. Now a quick example of how this build works is you'll first start by using your tether super on a bunch of adds and then throwing a grenade at them right afterwards. This will get you up to 50 to 75% of that super energy straight back depending on the adds tethered, and then after that you'll just use your void weapons and abilities to generate orbs of power, as well as void orbs and void breaches. This will give you devour, volatile rounds and invis on every kill while volatile rounds is active, and the void orbs will give you ability energy and a chance to spawn special and heavy ammo when you kill adds with them. And after that you'll just carry on as usual, killing everything, getting grenade kills for super energy and so on. But for a master activity or a grandmaster nightfall, you're going to play it a little different, like this master lost sector here whilst underpowered. So you're going to still use the build pretty much the same way, but at a slower pace, because although you're getting devour and health back on kills, adds can and will still kill you in just a few shots if they hit you before you get the final blow. The only downside to using this build in higher tier content is that the void orbs you generate and throw at adds, they might not get the final blow to spawn ammo, but they will still make adds volatile to re-trigger the loop of going invis on each kill. So it's not all bad, and in fact the build is actually probably better to use in endgame content because the adds are a lot stronger and are most likely going to be yellow bars, which is what you want in order to get more super energy from that tether. Now the tether on its own isn't going to produce much super energy, which is why we're going to be using the Orpheus Rig exotic leg armor, because what this does is provide us with ability energy for each target tethered by Deadfall and gives Moebius Quiver an additional shot. So using this we will be able to get up to half of that super energy straight back, and depending on the adds around, whether they're minors, majors and however many there are, you can get that super back insanely fast, which is our primary goal with this build. But if you don't have Orpheus Rig, then your alternatives are going to be Graviton Forfeit, the 6 Coyote, Omnioculus, Gyrfalcons or the Frostees. But if you're using those then you won't be getting faster supers, and I did cover a build that works with most of these exotics efficiently, which you can find down in the playlist below for some of my other void builds. So for this one specifically, we're going to be using Orpheus Rigs for that extra super energy. Now with this build there are two void aspects that are going to let you dominate, and those are going to be the stylish executioner and Vanishing Step. Now Stylish Executioner will make you invisible when you defeat a weakened, suppressed or volatile target, whereas Vanishing Step will make you invisible when dodging. So we have two sources of going invisible. Now since Stylish Executioner requires us to defeat debuff targets, that being either the weakened, suppression or volatile rounds, we'll need to apply those debuffs to enemies, and our main one that we're going to apply is going to be the volatile. The way we'll get volatile rounds will be firstly from our aspect Echo of Instability, where defeating targets with grenades grants volatile rounds to your void weapons, but also our artifact perk Elemental Orbs Void, where defeating enemies with void weapons has a chance to spawn a void orb, which you can throw to make enemies volatile. So those are our two sources of getting volatile rounds, and that will start the loop process of going invisible on every single kill. The void weapons I recommend with this build are a Funnel Web, great for minor adds, a Doom Scout, great for long distance fights, or a Limon Bow, which is great for master content where you have overload champions, as it can stun them. I do recommend running this machine gun here, great weapon, which is also a good choice for helping you kill adds quickly too, and actually it's not bad when you pair it with the weaken melee as well, because you can use the snare bomb melee to throw on a champion to weaken them, then use Elemental Fury so champions take more damage from abilities, then you could throw a grenade, but also using monochromatic, after throwing that grenade will increase our weapons damage too, so you're getting a ton of buffs by just chaining between those abilities, which is pretty good. Now for the other fragments, I am using the Echo of Reprisal, so final blows while surrounded grant super energy, Echo of Cessation, so defeating volatile targets creates a Void Breach, which is great because that Void Breach will give us class ability energy, but also with our next fragment, Echo of Starvation, picking up an orb or that Void Breach will give us Devour, which then means instant max health on kills as well as grenade energy. So already we have buffed out DPS to both our abilities and weapons, faster supers, faster grenades, volatile rounds, invis and health on every single kill, and ability energy granted with a bunch of perks too, which is just crazy. But as for the artifact perks, we have Elemental Orbs Void so that we can generate void orbs on void weapon kills. We'll combine this with Refresh and pickups so that we can get ability energy when we pick them up. Communal pickups so our cooldown is reduced, as well as giving us bonus damage if our allies throw our orbs. Elemental Fury for increased damage to champions, and Monochromatic for more damage when chaining between our weapons and abilities. You do want to use the elemental munitions if you can, so you have that chance of getting heavy ammo when killing adds with orbs too, but I don't tend to rely on this in endgame content, because a lot of the time those orbs might not get the final blow on adds, so now I just tend to use the orbs to make adds volatile instead. For mods, you want to use a Void Siphoning helmet to spawn orbs, as well as 2 Ashes to Assets for bonus super energy on grenade kills. Arms we have a grenade kickstart and a firepower. Chest we have our damage resist mods. Legs we have a bunch of cooldown mods when picking up orbs. And then in the class I'm using a Reaper mod and 2 bombers. Then for the stats, you want to focus in ideally 100 discipline, resilience and mobility, but with discipline it doesn't matter too much since Devour will get us our grenades back faster anyway, but if we can get them even faster then it's even better, and that grenade I am using is going to be the Vortex one, which I do recommend using. For the full artifact setup, this here is what I have for this build, and then the mod screen as well is here, but as always the dim link will be down below for you guys too. Honestly guys, give this build a try because it does a fantastic job, and it is by far one of the best builds in the game right now if you want faster supers. But if this isn't the build for you, then don't forget to check out my new Season 22 build playlist down below, because you might just find your next dream build. And until then guys, have a good one, and I'll see you next time. Peace out guys.